Welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. This podcast is a production of Swaim Strategies, a consulting firm dedicated to nonprofit fundraising events. We're coming to you today from the studios of the AV department. Please welcome our hosts, Kristen Steele and Samantha Swaim.
Hello, and welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. It is a new year, and it is time for us to think about new things. Today, we really want to inspire folks to think about bold change, to banish the imposter syndrome, put it out to dry. We want to shine a big, bright spotlight on the superheroes that are leading the sector and the superhero leadership powers that each of us have within us. So today, we've invited Shereen Thor of Thor International Inc., a comedian turned coach who leads with humor and hope. She is the author of Revolutionary Woman. She has been featured in Forbes, TEDx, Wall Street Journal, and so many more places. Here to light your leadership spark and dispel your leadership fears, please welcome Shereen Thor. Shereen, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're so excited to have you here. I feel like, New Year's are those times that we think about things like fresh starts and resolutions, but we've been on a journey to get to this time and to this place. So before we jump into talking about where we could be headed, let's talk about you and your journey and how you got here. How did you come to this place of being executive coach? What's your path?
What's my path? What's my dirty little story? I'm going to tell you everything and you might regret it. Okay. Well, honestly, so I will start early. So my parents actually immigrated from Egypt and I was like an immigrant kid, right? So born in America, but figuring out two different cultures. Mm-hmm. And the Egyptian culture was very clear. You must be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or we do not accept you. We will consider you a loser and a shame to the family. Very dramatic. I don't think I was ever made to be an engineer. I don't know if you could tell. Wasn't going to be my thing. So when I went to college, I would have loved to major in philosophy or art, but I was not wanting to embarrass my family by becoming like a broken, starving artist. And so I was like, well, we'll do communications. So I did communications, and first job out of college, unfortunately, had a very bad experience in the workplace. So I was there for about 3 months. And this guy, about 20 years my senior, walks into my office, closes the door behind him, sort of hovers over my desk where I'm sitting and just says, if you don't lose your attitude, I'm going to bend you over this desk and spank you.
No.
Right? No. I was like a 23-year-old child. Like, I did not know what was happening, right? And at this time, this was not when anyone was talking about the patriarchy or #MeToo or any of that kind of stuff. So I was stunned. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I put on my best, tough girl face and I told him to just get out of my office, and he did. And then I went to my boss and I told him what happened, and then he went to his boss, and they were both really upset for me. They were like, what on earth? And then they went to the CEO, and the three of them had me come into a meeting. And the CEO just looked me in the face and said, well, you can still work with him, right? I mean, he was just joking, right? And I just shoved my tears down and said yes, because I knew that's what he wanted to hear. And I swear, as I walked out of his office that day, it was like the lights went dim. Yeah. And then every day that I would suit up and fight traffic and go to work, it's like the lights just kept dimming. I was there for about a year and a half. And then a friend of mine just kind of nagged me to go to this personal growth seminar that she had gone to and really changed her life. I didn't want to go. I was like, this feels like something that weird people need. I'm just too cool for school. But I went and I didn't want to go. So I was asking for my money back. And they're like, well, our return policy is that you go through the whole thing. And if you get nothing out of it, then we'll give you your money back. But you have to go through the whole thing. So I was like, oh, fine. So I go through the whole thing, and I didn't know it at the time, but this was really my introduction to the coaching industry. To your original question, I've clearly gone off the rails here with my whole life story. But really at the seminar, it was major. It really helped me kind of get out of making decisions from up here and from how I had been programmed, right? As an immigrant kid, survival mode, you don't have a resume, just put your head down and survive. As a woman, sit pretty, smile nice, don't make a fuss, right? All that programming, I was always going from here and making myself miserable. And that seminar was just like an opportunity to like blow the lid off whatever box I was operating in and just really think like, what do I actually want for my life? It was like the first time I had had that kind of critical thinking or reflection. So after this seminar, I did what any rational human being would do, and I quit a master's degree that I was dutifully enrolled in and started doing stand-up comedy.
But did you ask for your money back?
I did not. Oh my gosh. This seminar like rocked my world. I was like, I see why you have that return policy now. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So I started doing comedy, and I went really hard and fast for like 2 years. I went everywhere. I grew up in LA, so I did the Hollywood Comedy Store. I did the Hollywood Improv. I did the Pasadena Ice House. It was like anywhere they would take me, I would do comedy. And at the same time that I was doing comedy, I sort of in tandem continued to drink the Kool-Aid at the seminar company, right? So I was like going to their next thing, which was like a 7-day retreat ropes course thing where you cry about your childhood and shed your, old skin. And so I was doing both in tandem really hard. And I think that was just like a major time of transformation, right? Where I was, as a comedian, maybe breaking unwritten rules that I had followed and sort of becoming my authentic self for the first time, whether people liked it or not. My mom was very embarrassed. She didn't want to tell any of her religious Egyptian friends about my dirty comedy career. And then at the same time, the coaching was major transformation. So at the end of this 2-year kind of sprint, on both lanes, if you will, comedy really looked like it was going somewhere. I actually got off stage at the Hollywood Improv, and a scout from MTV came up to me and he's like, hey, I'd like to see if you want to come in for auditions to maybe be a VJ or a talking head. Remember when that was a thing?
Yes. That's awesome.
I was like, oh my God, what? Yeah, let's go. So I was excited, but I don't know, at that time, it's like I could really feel the difference between doing something that really lit me up because I was intrinsically motivated towards it versus doing something that was like, oh, people will think MTV is cool. Like, oh, I want approval, right? So I sort of like had let go of that version of me that was always seeking approval.
Yep.
And coaching was incredible. Like being held in a safe space by a sacred witness who allowed me to like take off the mask of who I'm supposed to be and just like actually be myself. Oh my gosh, it gave me so much of my energy back, right? Whatever depression had been kind of building because I stayed at that job, reversed. Like I was like, I just got so much of my essence back. And so I just was hooked, man. I wanted to drink the Kool-Aid and pass out the Kool-Aid. So I kind of pivoted. I left comedy, went all in on coaching, been doing that for 20 years, wrote a book, did a talk, now I speak. So that's kind of what has led me down the road that brings me to you today.
I love it. And now you travel the world consulting with folks from all sectors about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing and hearing right now?
Yeah.
So juicy. I'm seeing and hearing so many things. I do love being a fly on the wall. I will say that. I'm sure you expect this and you're going to hear this. I'm hearing a lot about how to utilize AI and automation to transfer the knowledge base of the baby boomers to the newer generations, ways to create better and more efficient onboarding for new employees. So lots of that going on. I'm also hearing, women who are traumatized from working in male-dominated industries or being pushed out by the men, at the executive level alongside them, wanting to step up and having past work trauma come up, and I feel like it's across the gamut. I'm seeing a lot of different challenges, different opportunities, and I do feel like things are moving very fast right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that we're seeing that there's a lot of like evolution happening. People are making career changes and career choices quickly. There's needs popping up that didn't exist 2 years ago, new jobs, new roles. But we have a lot of listeners that tune in and join us that are women in leadership, executive directors, fundraisers, development, advancement officers. And all of that work is so oftentimes people-centered. And yet I feel like we live in this place where women are asked to conform a lot. So how do you coach folks around like finding what you mentioned earlier, authenticity? How do you find the piece of yourself that allows you to show up, even though oftentimes you're asked not to?
That is such a good question. And I feel like, why do we have to navigate this Rubik's Cube of a matrix?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I just think about like, if I was a white male, you wouldn't be asking me that question. It would just be like, here I am, right? I gotta just do my thing. Cause like, that's what it is. But with women, it's like, don't be too much, right? Don't be too loud. Don't be too dominant. Don't have such strong opinions. They're going to think you're a B word, a bitch, right? There's always like, yeah, I just feel like we are twisting ourselves into a pretzel, right? To like sit inside the boxes and conform in ways that don't make others uncomfortable. But then we're also trying to lead at the same time. It's like, how do you pretzel and twist and shrink and then also expand and lead and make your impact? And the answer is, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like when you're asking me of like, how do you encourage women to be authentic? I'm like, gosh, it's almost like you gotta be willing. It's just gonna sound intense and dramatic, and I'm gonna apologize in advance, but also I'm not gonna apologize because this is awesome. You gotta just be like willing to take the bullet, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, one, the world needs your impact. 100% without question, the world needs women leaders desperately, right? Empathy, heart, soul, consideration, collaboration. I mean, the EQ is off the charts. We need it so bad. And with that, it's like, it kind of is what it is. Like, you're just going to have to be willing to take the bullet. You're just going to have to be willing to be in this thing that is hard and can feel like a grind and can feel like you're swimming upstream. And I think with that, the solve, to make it not as depressing, is support, right? Like support. So whether that's like women communities, right? Women leader communities, listening to podcasts like this one, getting yourself a therapist, a coach, whatever you need, right? Just to really support and nurture the part of yourself that's like, this is freaking hard. This is hard and I'm tired. And sometimes I want to stop. We need you not to stop. So get what you need, honey bunny, because we got to do this together.
Time to go.
Yeah.
I think some of the work that we do, oftentimes we get to collaborate with a lot of people that have shared job responsibilities, similar job responsibilities. And one of the things that I love so much is when people have that aha moment, they realize they're not in it alone, that they're going through, what they're going through is not singular to them. And then that sort of like authentic willingness to share, like you said, that having groups, having connections, having therapists, having coach, allows sort of to process through that moment of sort of the thing that's holding you back or keeping you sticky. So I appreciate that call to action of like, you're gonna need to lead anyway.
Yeah.
But
Right?
find your support systems to do it.
I think, fear and inaction go hand in hand. I think also, individuals seeking the scaffolding they need to be able to stay or tolerate where they are is one thing, but how do people move forward anyway, right? Like, I think there's leadership is a higher call to action. It's about creating direction. And I think, how do folks within a system that maybe doesn't see their full potential, how can folks move forward and maybe bring folks along?
That's a great question. And I think, women are like experts in navigating spaces where they are not measured accurately in terms of their value, right?
Yeah.
And they're not encouraged to reach their full potential because that potential isn't even seen. So I kind of feel like we almost need to be like escape artists who become amazing at unplugging from the matrix and really incredible at deciding what our measuring sticks are, right?
Yep.
Like, there's a quote by Einstein: if you measure a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And I feel like us women, oh my gosh, like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how easy it would be to believe that I am stupid. I will honestly say, I think before I landed on speaking, I did believe that I was stupid. Like, honestly, like I not only had like a bit of a verbally abusive childhood, dirty laundry for you, but I was measured against this measuring stick that was like, be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer.
Yeah.
My personality measured against those skill sets, I'm always going to measure low. Like a lawyer, like you don't want me as your lawyer. I don't have the patience to read the documents. Okay. Like you don't want me as your engineer. That building, it's crumbling. Okay. Like it's not a good situation. However, put me in a situation where like I'm a motivational speaker on a stage in a room full of women and I'm the one. I'm Neo, baby. Like I'm the one, So I feel like that happens a lot with women where we're put in places and spaces where we aren't necessarily encouraged. We aren't necessarily seen as super valuable and we got to like prove it. I feel like with women, I would just say like, never, ever get in a situation where you're trying to prove your value. Like whatever's going on for someone else and how they're measuring you, just like let it be their own shit. Just unplug from that toxic matrix and do not view yourself through that lens. Put on some lenses that actually measure you accurately so that you can value yourself accurately because the world ain't gonna do it for you. Like that's the super annoying and sad truth is that like a lot of my work is just like truth bombs. Like this is not gonna be easy and the world is not gonna make it easy for you. And we're still gonna do it because you're absolutely necessary and needed. And so we will give you the support necessary to have you fulfill your purpose and potential and your unique impact that you're meant to make. They're not going to lay out the red carpet for you, but who cares? Like, we got this, So
you said two things I want to touch on. First of all, you're talking about the importance of when women lead, and I want to come back to that because I think that is such an important thing right now.
Yeah.
But I also have found that similar to your experience of like, myself lining up against these benchmarks are not going to be an alignment that is a true measurement of my value, my worth, my authentic self. I feel like we as women often do that to each other. We cross compare. We live in a world of comparisons. We hold each other down. Even when I think so often we believe that that's awful behavior and we don't want to do that. We find ourselves doing it. Like, when you're in an environment where you're coaching a group of women, all women, how often does sort of breaking that behavior? How do we like coach and encourage and find ways, even within ourselves and our own leadership, to support other women in leadership?
It's a really good question. Yeah. I mean, and it really does come down to collaboration versus competition.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just going to get a little woo here, if it's okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go woo, full woo.
So I have this energy leadership index assessment, and it's like named by Forbes. It's one of the top 11 leadership assessments that every leader should take. And what's lovely about it is it kind of takes something as nebulous as like energy and perspective and like how you view the world and quantifies it into numbers and levels of energy that are understandable. So basically there is 7 levels of energy. Level 1 is like, I'm helpless, hopeless, and I'm going to lose because I don't have power. Level 2 is like, I win, you lose. I'll take everything. And those 2 are catabolic, which means they are negative. In your body, when you're having a catabolic thought, it secretes cortisol and adrenaline into your blood, erodes your tissue. It is perfect if there's a bear in front of you and you need that adrenaline for a stress response. It is unhealthy and not okay if you're chronically feeling like you're in those levels of energy, right? Most of the working world in corporate America is living in levels 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I immediately am like, oh yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, totally. So then there's levels 3 through 7. And I will say, if we're talking about competition versus collaboration, competition is level 2, right? I win, you lose at any expense, don't care. Level 5 is win-win. It's very like, let's work together to create collaboration. It's much more sustainable. It's a more sustainable model of success. Even when I have a client who actually has quite a high level of energy at level 4, which I'm sure a lot of executive directors of nonprofits have level 4.
Yeah.
A lot of HR leaders have level 4, like nurses, mothers, teachers, a lot of level 4, a lot of giving energy.
Yep.
The energy in level 4 is you win. Like, I'm concerned for you. And so I want you to win, which is beautiful, right? Yeah. It's like selfless. The problem with it is it's not sustainable. So if I'm always giving, at some point I bottom out at level 1 and 2 again. So it's like you almost are doing this like up and down, right? So level 5 is sustainable. And that's I just went on a whole rabbit hole. So like, thank you for going with me
it's a
there.
good
right?
rabbit hole.
It's perfect. It's a great frame.
But yeah, I really do attempt to coach everyone I ever talk to on a stage, having a coaching session, anything, coach them up to higher levels of energy so that they're operating at a higher vibrational frequency. And that can be applied to women in community, women who work together. If they're competing, they're just in level 2. It's okay. We all do it, right? It happens. But we can be better.
Yeah.
And so that takes intention to do it on purpose, you know?
So tell us the name of that assessment so we can make sure we link it.
Energy Leadership Index Assessment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if 5 is win-win, what are 6 and 7?
I know.
How do we like win the matrix?
So 6 is we all win.
Yep.
7 is like there's no winning and losing. Like life is a game, and
Yes.
this is all just a matrix. It's all simulation. This 7 is like Buddha. Like you're just like your feet aren't even on the ground. You know.
Okay. I like the idea of 6.
I know.
We all win.
Totally.
I like 6
Yeah.
too.
That's good.
It's a beautiful level of energy for
So
sure.
speaking of 6s and 7s, what is possible when women lead? You've mentioned a couple of times the importance of we need women in leadership right now. What is made possible when women lead?
You know what? I have some stats on this. Can I bring them up like
please.
a nerd, or can we do this
let's
right
do
now?
it.
Yeah, do it.
I talk about it actually in my keynote speech whenever I'm talking to a room full of women. So in an article published by Harvard Business Review titled Women Score Higher Than Men in Most Leadership Skills. Researchers analyzed large samples of leadership competency data and found that women outscored men on a majority of evaluated leadership skills. From Oxford Leadership, studies show that companies where leadership is gender diverse were 21% more likely to experience above average profitability. And boards with more women produced 42% higher return on sales.
Wow.
And 66% higher return on invested capital compared to all male boards. And then another fun one from the APA, the American Psychological Association. So decades of studies show that women leaders help boost productivity, collaboration, employee engagement, and fairness in the workplace. So, no big deal.
No, that sounds like the magic sauce right there.
It does.
I feel like there's
It's so fun.
there's like an intuitiveness of women in leadership roles often, in my experience, have been collaborative leaders, have been really like solution seeking leaders, people that find a win-win versus a you versus me. And so it's really validating actually to hear that there's data behind it and that people are actually researching it. So I love when it gets nerdy. Thank you for that. Well, we're going to take just a short break. And when we come back, we want to dive more into kind of some of those challenges folks face and getting rid of that imposter syndrome for real. So we'll be right back with Shereen Thor.
Ready to take your fundraising to the next level? Need to get unstuck in your event planning? Now's your chance to connect directly with the experts behind the Fundraising Elevator. Book a one-on-one consulting session with Sam for strategic planning and fundraising strategy, with Kristen for your programming and storytelling, or Mary for your registration and data tools. They're here to provide you personalized answers to all your event questions. Don't wait. Raise more at your next fundraising event. Book your session today at swaimstrategies.com. You can also find the link in our show notes.
Welcome back. We are here with Shereen Thor trying to figure out how to get to level 7.
Level 7.
Let's go.
What are some of the challenges for folks being able to bring their full selves to their work life and leadership? And what do we do about it? I think it is one thing to sort of just be like, just do it. Right. Which I think we all we look in the mirror and tell ourselves every day. Right.
Yeah.
I do. So what are some of the obstacles you hear people talking about in being able to do that? And how are they circumventing that?
I mean, honestly, I do think it's sort of like a circle back to what I mentioned earlier of like, I'm talking to a woman leader and she has like some legit work trauma that she has experienced. And she now is being asked to step up into like a C-level role. And she's excited, but she is scared shitless because she has had a bad experience in the past. So I feel like when we're talking about a woman being her full authentic self and really fulfilling her purpose and potential, it's like, I guess it's like, how do you move forward scared, right? Like, how do you lead when you are wounded? And so the really sort of deep answer that I don't normally say out loud, that I am working on getting more comfortable saying out loud because I believe it's very necessary, is that we need to heal from past trauma. And sometimes it's work trauma and sometimes it's literal childhood trauma, right? Like I definitely had a lot of messages as a kid of like, do not outshine your sister, right? Speaking of women in competition, do not outshine your sister. Like I don't even know who made these rules, whether it was like mom, dad, sister, I don't know. But I very much knew like, don't be better than her at things. Don't make her insecure or jealous about what you are versus what she is. And so when I wrote my book, this one right here that you see in this little box here called Revolutionary Woman, I mean, I was really like putting it out there, like who I am and what I think and doing something that people would perceive as impressive. And the same thing happened with the TEDx talk. I was putting myself out there and I was being fully seen. And like, whoa, the trauma that got kicked up before these events was incredible. And this is the thing I don't talk about with people, right? Like the outside world, they see a book and they see a TEDx talk and they're like, she must have it together. And I'm like, it is a hot mess over here, okay?
Let's be real.
Exactly. Like we may have been able to create something that's end result is lovely, but it's like, I think the process to getting to those end results are messy because we're human, right? Like we're not fully rational. There's lots of emotion, there's lots of stuff. And so I guess my answer to that question is like, we must be willing to heal. We must be willing to face fears with healing support, right? So whatever that looks like for you, there's different modalities for that. And just be aware that that's part of the process. Like as you step up in your leadership, you will also be required to heal more.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. We've been talking a lot about root causes because we have a lot of organizations that are, they have been in the process of like systemically addressing issues, let's say hunger, housing, things like that, for so long with restrictions on federal grant funds that have come their way. And then as those federal grant funds have it's kind of released that we've always done it this way. We have to stick to these policies because they were dictated by the funding. And now it's kind of moving us into conversations about what are the root causes for this systemic, lack, or what is the root cause of homelessness. And I think often that comes also to our own bodies, right? We often don't look at root causes for our own health. We don't look at what's causing this. We kind of just look at how to push through it. So I value and appreciate that you're talking about healing. I think that it's important, even though you don't share that often. I think it's worth sharing. We also have a lot of people in the sector right now that are young leaders. It's kind of exciting. It's interesting to see a lot of between what happened in COVID and then all of the changes that have happened with current political administrations have yielded this sort of like 5-year run where those who've been in the sector and leadership for a really long time are starting to step down, right? They're hitting kind of walls, they're hitting exhaustion. And we're seeing a lot of opportunity of people that are very young moving into new leadership positions, which I feel really excited about because I feel like there's a new lens and a new perspective to be brought with that. But I also think there's a lot of fear that comes with that, right? If you don't have the time in the role and the road miles behind you, right? What advice would you give to like your younger self? What advice would you give to the 24-year-old that's in their first leadership position?
It's a good question. I mean, I think I would say most people are doing it scared. So it's okay to do it scared. Yes. Like you don't have to know how to do this yet. You don't have to have this figured out before you, put one foot in front of the other and start doing it. I would definitely say get some support to work through that. Learn as much as you can, just knowing that like learning is part of the process of leadership, of growth, of how to run an amazing nonprofit, right? Like learning is always necessary. So I guess it's almost like an encouragement. Like you don't have to have this figured out. You do need to be willing to do what it takes to figure it out. And that is mindset, that is learning, that is whatever that looks like. So
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, what's interesting to think about with sort of passing of the baton is that there is an opportunity not only for you to do leadership differently,
Yeah.
but for that leadership to look different
Yeah.
as a paradigm, right? I think sometimes we feel like, I know for myself as a woman in leadership, it feels like I'm measured against the benchmark all the time.
Yeah.
This is what capital L leadership looks like. You come in and be the person in the room who's got the answer, who provides the direction, who
Right.
cleans up the mess, who does, right? And the paradigm for leadership is not often enough. You can walk into a room, be somebody who's open and available to listening, problem solving, and saying, I don't know, but let's figure it out together. And to me, those pieces are opportunities. And so I have just such a great interest in what shifting paradigms of leadership can look like with younger folks, especially because the nonprofit sector itself, we talk about this often, the structure of the sector is challenging. And with so many changes, and this is maybe a little rosy glasses, but that also brings opportunity, right? In that uncertainty, if a different paradigm of leadership that is working on healing is not perfect and is transparent and available about those things
And authentic
in that room, what could that change about leadership moving forward in such a, it feels like, it's not like it's a vacuum, but it feels like there's a big space of opportunity where old is crumbling for many reasons. So what steps in to fill that space?
Yeah.
Well, I love that. And I think that's why conversations like this are necessary, because you're right. What steps into that space? And if we're not having a discussion, reflecting, and making an intentional choice, then it sometimes can be wonky. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's like most of what I do is I'm asking people challenging questions so that they reflect enough to move with intention. So I love that you bring that up, because you're right. Like if there's a vacuum, it's exciting, right? There's opportunities, so much can happen. And also like, what do we want to make happen? Like, what are we going to collectively choose in terms of direction for this organization, for us as a society, for life at large, you know?
Yep. And how does that opportunity stay out of 1-2 energy and go for or higher? So imposter syndrome is real.
Yeah.
It is absolutely real. How do you help leaders combat that?
That is so good. Honestly, so I think one of the most profound things I do is create a safe space. Like even if I'm facilitating a group of executives, if I'm having a one-on-one coaching session, more than anything, I am creating a space where there's a high level of psychological safety so they can actually bring insecurities and discomfort to the table. And I feel like awareness is medicine. So I feel like in that honest space where you're speaking more honestly to someone than you would if you were having to wear a mask or trying to look a certain way, sometimes just talking through it can make it dissipate, can make it start to go away. I think past that, I'm like, you're a bad bitch. And let me just remind you of that like every fucking day. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually just like, you're amazing. Like that's why you're in this position. And, you know, just kind of actually reminding women that they're incredible. Like, unfortunately, we don't live in a world that does that often, right? We live in a world where women are encouraged to sit pretty, smile nice, don't make a fuss, give up everything for your children, don't be too ambitious, and be grateful for the crumbs you're given and don't ask for too much, right? Like we're just like, we're in this like societal fucking garbage can
Yeah. Yes.
And so like, I feel like a lot of my job is to like reverse the garbage. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you're incredible. You are a gift. Here is what I see that you are uniquely well suited to do. Here is the gift I see that you're bringing to the table, even though you might not be doing it the way that person does it. You're doing it in the way only you can do it. Yeah. My second TEDx talk was about women. And it was about the end of the talk. I kind of get into like ancient Egypt. It's kind of crazy because in ancient Egypt, it was like this weird alien society where it doesn't make any sense because like in Greece, women were not allowed to go to med school. So, right, like women were oppressed as usual, right? So women from Greece would travel to Egypt, this weird place where for some reason women were respected, and they would go to med school, and then they would graduate, and then they would go back to Greece and literally have to disguise themselves as men to practice medicine, right? And so ancient Egypt was this like incredible just anomaly where women were able to operate within society as free agents. Even the laws preferred them because maternity was a matter of fact and paternity was a matter of like question mark. So there was like so many things that like favored women. And I do believe it's because ancient Egyptian religion edified male and female gods. And so because women or the feminine, you know, could be viewed as a god, it was like, well, yeah, of course, like women and men, like we're all, they might have different unique gifts and talents and it might be expressed differently, but like we're all good people, we're all great, we're all valuable. And so I'm often in present day, like trying to bring that energy in where I'm like, listen, it's possible for us to just operate in harmony. I know we're used to this like garbage can matrix that we've all been navigating for our whole freaking lives, but it doesn't need to be that way. So I think this is just a circle back to like unplug from the toxic matrix. Like I'm always just trying to help women and men, all of us, to unplug from these weird societal views that we have subscribed to just as a result of osmosis, right? Like we're just like part of it. It's like, is this healthy or is it not? Right? That's a little bit of that reflection. If it's not, just drop that shit. And let's like move forward in a way that's actually healthy and sustainable and respectful and considerate and good and decent and civil. Like, how about it, y'all? I know it's crazy.
How about it? Well, okay. So let's compare for a second the trash can over here and the paradigm that we're seeing in the world of like pop culture, right? Because I think pop culture is bringing more of you're a bad bitch. And the sort of political norms, laws is bringing more of the trash can behavior, right? And so I think that there is an element of being the mirror, right? Like as a coach, you're a mirror for people, of continuing to lean into holding people up, seeing them for who they are, seeing their authentic selves. But you uniquely bring joy to that work as a comedian, as someone who is just embodies joy. How do you think joy plays a role for leadership? Like people who find joy, who lean into joy in this time when I think it feels like everything's in the trash can. How do we like lean into the bad bitch energy with some like joy and celebration and fun? And what does that lead to?
That's a good question. How do we lean into it? I like it. I mean, we just do. Like, I feel like we're doing it right now. Yeah. I mean, the truth is, I don't know that I have a how for that. I guess other than to say, like, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, just like, and maybe that's sort of like a paradigm shift or like viewing, you know, your work through a different lens. Like, it's almost like in this moment, I feel like we're filling the vacuum of opportunity that we just discussed. Is like, we could do that. We could choose collectively that part of how we want to move forward in our work is to bring joy into the workplace, right? Like, even if we're doing something as hard as addressing homeless youth, right? Or whatever, like really hard situation you are facing, like you can bring a very high level of energy to it and just be grateful and joyful that you get to be part of a solution to that problem. No matter how uncomfortable these conversations get or these situations are, it could just be like a commitment to that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And I think too, just in your fusion of comedy and laughter, but using that to get at truths, that joy is not at the expense of things, right? That joy can be an additive.
Yeah.
And I think often, joy is different than always being funny. Right. And using that as a tool or a deflection or I don't know how to deal with this conversation that's happening, so I'm going to mock myself, whatever that is. Joy is different, right?
Yeah.
Joy is not necessarily always laughing or minimizing or whatever. Like joy is a presence, right? And joy is seeking a presence in things and an experience in things. And so I think in some ways, for me, finding ways to embody that helps other people with that definition, and that it can be this other way that can coexist with earnest, steadfast, hard, insightful leadership that brings people along, but also helps create a space that people want to be a part of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I immediately am thinking about, we have 2 different organizations that we consult with that at the root, they have some very similar stories. The work they do, the missions they have are very rooted in lifting people up and in joy. The leadership teams are mostly women. Their boards are mostly women. But one difference is that through all of the work, the people, and the leadership of one organization, joy is a conscious decision that they've made. And it is a choice that they're leading with and that they're across the board making. Where the other organization, there is definitely a lot more 1-2 energy happening, where there's a competitive nature, and they're not able to reach the same place of potential. And so I kind of like am reflecting in the moment right now, watching this organization that we've been collaborating with, how joy infused in their work, in their leadership, and all the way to their board of directors is creating transformation and is creating a sense of confidence, a sense of security, a sense of comfort, a sense of authenticity that is transformative. And so
that's incredible.
I'm excited to hear sort of your work, your reflection, bringing people into that, because I feel like there's so much potential that sits there.
I'm excited to hear your reflection. Like, what? That was amazing. Because you're so right. It's so true, and like you said, it's not at the expense of, right?
Right.
It's just like infused in the work. It's just an energy that you are experiencing as you do your beautiful work in the world. You can solve homelessness and be depressed the whole time, and you can solve homelessness and feel collaborative and engaged and grateful the whole time. It's just an energy that's like in the subtext of your being.
Yeah,
that is profound. Wow.
Joy doesn't mean not hard.
Right.
And
absolutely.
I think, or that you're not taking it seriously. And so I think that for me is the difference there in that organization. They're doing incredibly hard work.
Yeah.
And they're doing it consciously to have this. It's like, I think of it like that rainbow parachute. Maybe I'm aging myself, that we used to do in grade school, where we would stand around in a circle and hold it up for people to be able to come under and be in a new place. And it was that constant wiping of perspective with, I don't know, I could go on with the metaphor, but I think joy is hard. And the work can be hard, and yet joy has a payoff.
Yeah.
And toiling
100%.
away in a system that doesn't actually want you in the way that they're telling you to do it is really hard to find joy.
It's so hard. Yeah. And I think in a lot of ways, women leaders who are authentic and making their impact are just revolutionary. It's truly incredible. It's truly admirable. It's truly amazing. I feel like we should just like jump for joy and just like round of applause. And honestly, I feel like that's what this book was. Like when I was writing this book, I was just like, I don't know. Just like, I feel like truly, like, who knows, maybe it's my ancient Egyptian roots, but I just have like a deep, deep love and admiration for women. And women who are like bringing their full selves to the table. So like, you could be a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't have to be that you're like out in the world doing, I don't care what it looks like, but just really being your full self. And that might mean that you're advocating for yourself more accurately or aggressively, like in your marriage, whatever. Like, I don't care actually what it looks like, right? It could be like boardroom, executive, nonprofit, or it could just be like life. But I love women, and I like to see women in joy. I like to see women respecting how incredible they are and the contributions they make. And honestly, like, that's all my life's work, like book, talk, coach, like, I don't care what I'm doing. That's my purpose. And and it's just, I can't help it, ladies.
Well, and when 51% are subjugated, we're never going to get to level 6 where we all win.
Right.
We're never going to get there. Let's take a quick break. We're going to thank some of our partners. And when we come back, we're going to ask you to get into the fundraising elevator with us. We'll be right back.
Ready for your hard work to yield more funds at your next event? Join us at Elevate, a nonprofit fundraising event conference designed to bring our community together and make planning successful events easier. Register today for this hybrid conference on March 3rd and 4th, 2026 in Portland, Oregon, or join us online from anywhere. This isn't just another conference. You'll walk away with battle-tested strategies, hands-on tools, and proven templates that top fundraisers use to raise millions. Your mission deserves fully funded success. Register today at swaimstrategies.com.
Welcome back. We are here talking to Shereen Thor about bad bitch energy.
Yes.
And how no matter where you are or what you're doing, you need to go get some. Shereen, we ask all of our guests to get into the fundraising elevator with us, to offer that one last thought, one last tip to our nonprofit superheroes out there. What you got for them?
Man, you are a dream. Are you kidding me? Like, thank you for the incredible work you do. Thank you for bringing your whole entire self to the table. Thank you for all the lives you're impacting. Thank you for all the employment you're creating. Please, honey, keep on keeping on and get yourself the support to stay on the journey.
Yes.
I love that.
Mic drop. Well, Shereen, if folks want to get a hold of you, if folks want to receive coaching, join a session, see your TED Talk, read your book, how do they find you?
I think the website's probably the best place to go. ShereenThor.com. Yeah.
Great. We will make sure there's a link there. We'll also make sure there's a link to the book and your TED Talk so people can easily find it in the show notes. But thank you for inspiring us and bringing joy, and thank you for doing what you do. I think it's important that women have that lift, that coach, that voice behind them saying, "You're awesome." So thank you. We appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Stay well.
The Fundraising Elevator is produced by Swaim Strategies at the studios of the AV department. The program is produced and directed by Steve Osborne, with audio engineering and original music by Dwayne Anderson and Heidi Christensen. Video production by John Collier. Graphic design by Pendulum Creative Group. And voiceover by Josh Boykin.
Hey y'all, it's Kristen. Before we leave, I want to ask for your help to make the podcast grow. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please like, follow, and subscribe to the Fundraising Elevator. And if you're getting a lot out of the show, share it with a friend. Leave us a review. These things help make sure that the podcast continues heading up. Thanks so much for being here and tuning in.
Are you ready to engage supporters and grow your base with your own podcast? Then let us introduce you to our partners at the AV department in Portland, Oregon. In addition to delivering exceptional live event audiovisual production and videography, they also have a top-tier production studio and an expert team ready to take your content ideas to the next level. Contact the AV department to schedule a consultation and start bringing your podcast vision to life.